Hey, sports fans, welcome on in. Down and Dirty, Scott Mitchell. So glad you could join the show. It's Friday. Fantastic Friday, fun Friday, freaky Friday, football Friday, golf Friday. That doesn't start with an F unless you yell four, which is something that Bryson DeChambeau did a whole lot of yesterday at the Masters. Anyways, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about so much more on the show today. So glad you could join us, subscribe, like, do all that fun stuff. We're so glad to bring you the show, especially on a Friday. Got a lot happening. There's a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss. We're going to get into all of it. But, let's just start with old Bryson DeChambeau and the Masters. Of course, it's a tradition like none other. Friday is kind of, Thursday is don't play yourself out of the tournament. And, of course, Friday is make sure you make the weekend and so you're going to see and it's going to be fascinating. It's going to be fast. The weather has created very dry conditions, which means those greens will be just like a sheet of glass, basically putting on. And it'll be fun to see how some of these players bounce back, respond. I love watching the Masters. It's so interesting just because these players try so hard. They're trying so hard. They want so badly to win, and you see a guy like Scotty Scheffler who's in contention. He's right there, and he's got this. He missed some just real easy putts. He very easily could be in the lead or at least tied for the lead. But it looks like his game's probably in a place where he's going to compete over the weekend, which is what you want. You just want about 7 or 8 guys on Sunday afternoon within earshot of winning this whole thing, because fortunes can shift dramatically on the back nine on Sunday at the Masters. So very fun, especially you've been grinding it out. I would imagine with the fastness of the greens, it has this mental wear on your mindset, and after a long period of time, just see who crumbles under that or who just says, "Hey, I like them slick, I like them fast, and let's go." And of course, the undulation, it's a trek, to get around Augusta. Then you have Rory, who of course won this year, and Rory is a guy that just, for so long was trying to win the Masters, and all of a sudden it's like once you win, it's almost like you just win 2 or 3 more after it. You just kind of get that mental breakdown done, and you just find a way to figure it out. And it's like, that really wasn't that wasn't so bad. It's like me and shots. I hate shots. And I get them, and I have this anticipation it's going to be the most painful thing in the world. And sometimes there's some pain to it. Usually the pain is more when I tense up, my muscles are tight, whatever. But usually it's like, oh, that wasn't so bad. So winning the Masters is like getting a shot. Once you've won it, it's no big deal. So that'll be an interesting thing to watch. Is Rory roaring away to another title and just kind of going, "Yeah, I know how to win the Masters now. I've done it. I know what it takes." Because he certainly looked good in the first round. Now, I had picked Bryson DeChambeau, and Bryson DeChambeau was hitting spectators yesterday. Shot a 76, was not playing very well. And I just have to wonder, it's like, okay, you did the 3D printing of a 5-iron. Why didn't you do a 3D printing of a new driver? Something. Because he certainly was out of. Bryson's one of those guys where I talked about this a little bit, where he has to get it in his mind right about his swing, about his setup, about his mechanics. And he's got to be kind of quiet and comfortable and confident with what that is. And if it's kind of out of sorts a little bit, it's like he's just out of sorts. Like he can't recover from it. He can't figure it out. He can't, get it all, I don't know, dialed in. And the Masters is certainly not the place to figure out how to dial your game in. Like you got to come in playing well if you're going to win the Masters. And he certainly was not the case in the beginning. Now there are guys who have had rough opening rounds. Tiger Woods, I think the first time he won it, shot somewhere in the 76 number. and then just kind of was lights out the rest of the way. So it's not impossible, and it's a golf course where you can score on. It's not something that cannot be had, but you got to really dial in your game if that's what's gonna happen. So it looks to be a Masters that's tuning into and shaping up to be a fun, great weekend. Always so fun to enjoy watching. I know there are people that like golf. There are people that don't like golf, and I'm one of those. I like it. I like to watch it. I absolutely love to watch it. Okay. Anyways, there's a little bit of a Masters update as part of our headlines. Now, here's one that a hot headline of the day, and man, I'm not sure how to take this one, but the Department of Justice. So those are like the cops. They're the people that are like investigating crime, investigating injustices, investigating when people are violating laws. And they have opened up an investigation on the NFL. Whoo! That's like the sacred cow. Who in the world actually I don't know, is willing to challenge the NFL? And the reason I say this is because the NFL is so powerful in its relationship with television. It's massively like it is the most popular thing on television, like not even close. Like and it's all television. It's all forms of viewing the product, right? And so there's a lot of it now, and that's the problem. The and it's a real problem. It's a real problem. It's like and here's the problem, okay? And here's the rub. The rub is that the NFL is saying, or the Department of Justice saying, the average person is spending $1,000 just so they can watch at home. It's like not to go into the stands, not to go into, wherever. And so, just at home. And of course they pay it, but the challenge is, the NFL just says, "Hey, we're going to these subscription-based platforms. We're having you're gonna have to pay to view," and it's making it kind of non-competitive for these channels that don't cause you to pay, like the regular ABC, NBC's type of stations. And that's kind of the rub. And so it's an unfair advantage, or it's putting people in an unfair position that they're requiring people, so you go, because look, um, CBS, NBC, all of these stations pay billions of dollars for the rights to broadcast these games. And now they're having, these competitive services where there's actually all this money. So who's brunting the cost of this, and how does it all work? Anyways, they're questioning whether this is in violation of certain antitrust laws in the United States of America. Now, I don't know all the details and all the information about it, other than it just there's an undue burden on a certain group, whether it's the fans or whether it's certain television networks or whatever. And the NFL, I don't want to say they've gone too far, but maybe they've gone maybe they've gone too far in their relationship with the people, because one of the things that made football and sports in general so great was the viewership of a young audience. And that young audience watched a game with their dad, and they got hooked. And that was the drug, the gateway drug for football, was viewership, was seeing it, was being able to go to a game or watch a game. And once you watch it and all of a sudden get invested in it, they have you for life. And that's not a bad thing. Uh, you know, drugs and how they do that are a bad thing, but it's the same principle. If If you just get them hooked on it, you'll have them for life kind of thing. And so that doesn't exist today per se because it's too expensive. It's too cost prohibitive to actually go to a game. Now to watch a game is a different story. And people have been able to watch a game and now, they have all these premium services or you have, there's games like you can't watch the game unless you have that service. And it puts an undue burden on people. And is it legal? And that's what they're looking into. Is this right to do this? Because there comes a point in the greed of the almighty dollar. Are you freezing out your audience? Are you freezing out your market? Are you freezing out the future fans of the sport who they just can't they're not going to watch it. They can't afford to watch it. And it's done to some extent. It's always been done to some extent in the NFL. I think about my time with the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions played in a stadium that was 80,000 people essentially. And if you don't sell out all of your season tickets or your home game tickets for that game, then that game's blacked out in your area. And so they're saying, we're not going to let you watch it unless you go to the stadium. We need people, we need butts in seats. And if we get all the butts in seats and then there's nowhere for anyone to watch the game, then we'll broadcast it locally so you don't miss out on your team. And figuring that most NFL teams have such a great fan base, they don't have a problem selling out their stadium. Well, 80,000 seats has been proven to be cost prohibitive. So all of the new stadiums are in the 60s, not maybe 70,000 seats. And for that very reason, so that it creates this premium for seats where, man, I got to have my seat because they're running out. But if they run out, then we'll open it up to local television. So what happened in Michigan was the Upper Peninsula, the northern part of Michigan, everything outside of the Detroit metro area would not get Lions games because they're blacked out in the local market. And so all of Michigan's considered the local market. So the next closest market was Green Bay. Now, Green Bay had no problem selling out their stadium. So people in Michigan would become Packers fans because they couldn't watch the games locally. So being able to watch the game and experience the game was part of how you build the fan base and you build this loyalty. And if the fans can't do it and can't be a part of it, then they go. So you have to wonder, at least I wonder, what's the future consequences or impact of limiting who gets to watch your game? Because what you're saying is unless you have a lot of money, we're not letting you in. And most of the seats now are in a situation where it's like it's a corporation that buys the seats. So they buy it, Pepsi-Cola or whomever, or some business, and then it's not a game where a father and son, a family go and they become fans of the team. It's more of, hey, this is a perk for our business. It's something that we're going to give you as a reward. And maybe you bring your kid, but more than likely you're not, because it's about, hey, we're doing business. We're hanging out at the game together. We're creating networking and business building relationship opportunities more than, it's a father-son bonding and creating this lifetime loyalty to your team. Because the loyalty now is just like, does it help me land a deal? Does it help me, in my relationship with my boss or with my company? It's not, man. I'm all in on the Philadelphia Eagles now because I'm now a season ticket holder, and not only, the NFL's just said, look, if you want a ticket, you got to pay a premium, a license just to have the right to have the tickets, which is how they fund the stadiums. It's a big moneymaker. And people go, well, I got to have my tickets. I want my tickets. So yeah, I'll pay, a $10,000 surcharge for stadium development for the rights to get the tickets. And it's an ingenious way of basically double dipping or just saying, "Hey, we're going to take our whole fan base and we're going to get a little bit of money from all of them, which accounts to, half $500 million or more when we do a new stadium." And so we have the funding, the financing to do it, which, if it's your thing and you want to go be a sports fan and a spectator, I know people in the state of Utah who does not have a professional football team are season ticket. I know a lot of people, season ticket holders with the Las Vegas Raiders and love them. Go to the games, sell their tickets. If they don't go to the games, they get right of first refusal on other events that happen at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but this whole idea of television and have they gone too far, the NFL, it feels like they're right they're like skirting the line right now. It's like, okay, we have milked this thing as much as we possibly can. We're going to have every last dollar we can get out of these folks because we've got them hooked, and they're addicted to our product. So we're going to squeeze it for all it's worth, and they have. And gambling's they stop at nothing. Gambling, premium service television, expansion into new markets in Europe, all kinds of stuff. Having football games on pretty much every day of the week, including some of the sacred cow days like Friday nights and a lot of Thursday games are happening. And by the way, those games are happening on those premium services. So it's like, hey, let's put a game on Thursday night. Let's put a couple of games during the regular season. We'll charge a premium for them, and we'll see. We'll just see who wants to watch these games. And lo and behold, people are like, we want to watch the games. I mean, during the NFL football season, folks are just like, please let me, and they'll buy the red zone package where or they get they get all of the games on a premium package. Folks are buying that through the roof. I had no idea but I do now. So this will be a fun one to watch. It'll be interesting to watch because the NFL just we yields so much power over all of this stuff. The television, just a lot of things. And so um, I thought it was fascinating that the Department of Justice is actually looking into this, and boy, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Now there are other things like the Rooney Rule. The government's kind of looking at, is that actually does that fly in the face of is it discrimination or not? So we'll see where that one goes as well. But the NFL is certainly not, they're not, I guess, immune from prosecution. Now, I just saw this thing, and it's kind of, I don't know if it's related to what I'm talking about. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. But I do know this. I find it funny. I find it kind of sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best. No, this is a song. Anyways, um, this whole gambling thing, right? And this is that line that the NFL really really skirts along. And it's like everyone knows, like, you don't win at gambling. Now, you might say you have better odds if you're betting on NFL games as opposed to just going in and pulling a lever on a slot machine. Like, that's just total random. But there is some semblance of, it's a live event. Anything is possible in this event. Now they stack the odds, they handicap everything so that, well, they handicap it so they'll win, basically. But there is a chance. And the thing that always I find so ironic, and just it really just causes me to roll my eyes really hard, is they'll have this advertisement on, you know you're on a site, you're somewhere, sports site, and they're like, hey, check out our gambling site, check out our fantasy site or DraftKings, all these different places. But then there's a disclaimer at the bottom. And the disclaimer is, if you have a problem with gambling, if you're addicted to this, then you need to call this number. So don't, gamble responsibly, drink responsibly, all of these things. I really wonder, because for years we knew about smoking. We knew it was bad for you. We knew it was not good. Now people still smoke, but smoking is not something that even remotely is promoted in a way that it was. I'd be fascinated to see how now they've been smart enough to go, well, we'll vape, and vaping is just like skyrocketed because vaping is not smoking. It's like the same thing. You're putting the carcinogen into your body, whether it's through a vapor or if it's through a smoke. It's the same thing. It's the infusion of it into your body. Regardless, I wonder if someday someone is going to have the courage to say they knew gambling was wrong. They knew it was addictive. They knew it was devastating. And I just wonder if someone's going to come along someday down the road and challenge all of this and just say, hold on just a second. You guys know this is bad. You're promoting it. You're in bed with it. And you have damaged the lives of just millions of people. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there were years, there were decades, there was this massive battle with the tobacco industry over smoking. Like, oh, we weren't aware of the long-term effects. I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same thing with concussions. And I just wonder if this bad habit of gambling is something that doesn't come back to bite you in the behind if you're the NFL. Okay, last hot headline before I go to break: the Utah Mammoth, our home team, our Utah Mammoth, secured a playoff spot. Like there's still games left, and the Mammoth just surged to the end of the season. I think they've won 4 straight to get into the playoffs. Look like they're a hot team going in to the playoffs. And it's in the state of Utah here. It's a fascinating dynamic with sports. It's a passionate fan base, and it's varied. You've got folks that love basketball and the Utah Jazz, and basketball's been a big part of the state of Utah for a long time. Football, from the college perspective, both Utah and BYU, for the last, over 60 years, has been a big part of the sports fans' excitement. And you've seen a lot of great football players, a lot of great football played at the collegiate level here, but it's rabid fan bases. I mean, every Saturday you have over 100,000 people in the state of Utah watching a football game easily in college football. And the Utah Jazz, and they're struggling right now, but they've been a long storied, very well respected, a great fan base. So many people talk about the challenge of coming into the Delta Center and playing, and the fans here are pretty they're pretty raucous, and they've been a great loyal fan base for the Utah Jazz for decades. And then lo and behold, here come the Mammoth. Now hockey's had a great interest in the state of Utah, not from a professional level, but man, talk about one of the great successes of a sports franchise. The Mammoth really struggled when they were the Coyotes and they were in Arizona. They're a team that felt like they're on the rise and going to be competitive. They were competitive their first season. They said this is a team that should make the playoffs next year, and they were right. And you have to wonder, at least I do, if hockey doesn't become the preeminent sport in the state of Utah. Now, massive interest, and probably within the next 3 years they'll have a Major League Baseball team in Utah, and then the Winter Olympics is coming back in about 8 years. So it's sports is really a hot commodity in the state of Utah. but nothing more hot right now than the Utah Mammoth. And I think the fans of the state of Utah certainly need something like this. It's so painful with what's happening with the Utah Jazz, and it's like there's no way around the Utah Jazz. There's just it's impossible for them at this point to be competitive. They just don't have the talent, and they have the assets as far as draft picks and all those things, but right now it's a bit of a challenge, bit of a struggle. So everyone is heaped on to the Mammoth, and on top of that, and I even have friends who have become huge Mammoth fans, and they're also Utah fans, and they're just like, look, I'm not really thrilled about the scene of college football today in general with NIL, transfer portal. These players come and go too quickly. You can't, you don't know who to cheer for because it's a new team every year. So they're heaped with some serious challenges, and I don't think the answer has been readily made available with programs about how to handle and move forward. Now, the president of the United States has put forth some some executive orders, and hopefully legislation comes in that helps regulate this and kind of create an even playing field for everyone, so everyone knows the rules. Because that's the problem. There aren't really rules and there aren't ways to do it. But the Utah Mammoth, good for them. So excited for the Mammoth. Love what they're all about. Love that it's the fan base here for hockey just went through the roof. It's funny how when you win, you have rabid fans. So it'll be excited to see how that goes, because the trajectory of this team is, just beginning, and they feel like, in the next few years, that they're certainly a team that can compete for a Stanley Cup championship. So fun to watch, fun to be a part of. Good job, Mammoth. Not really sure what a Mammoth still is, but they're cool right now, and that's all that matters. Our show's cool too, by the way. We're going to take a cooling off moment. We got to spit in the bucket. We gotta get kind of readjusted here because we got round 2 coming up. They're going to wipe the sweat off my brow, and we'll be back in just a minute to go. I had a fun thing. So the NFL draft is coming up, and I thought, everyone does their mock draft, right? Here's where these players are going to end up. And the funny thing is everyone does a mock draft, and then all these players get drafted, and then they come back, a year later, and they go, well, if the draft were to happen today, and it's like, well, it didn't happen today. And that's the part of this whole thing, is they don't get it right. They don't figure it out. So I wanted to go through some of the draft, like the best players drafted in the later rounds, and even free agents. So I found some interesting names. Some of the greatest names in all of NFL history were not drafted in the first round. And we're going to talk about that when the Down and Dirty returns here in just a minute.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated with style and durability. You can trust Tervis tumblers to keep your drinks the perfect temperature, hot or cold, for hours. From the classic insulated tumblers to sleek stainless steel water bottles, each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome back. Friday. It is the Down and Dirty. Scott Mitchell. Of course, the Masters is going on this weekend. So I know what I'll be doing. I'll be watching it. I think from a viewing perspective, there's nothing better than the back nine on Sunday at the Masters. One of my favorite things to view. Of course, March Madness just ended. That is just an awesome thing. Of course, we all love the Super Bowl. We love, all the championship rounds of all of our other sports, the World Series, all that stuff. But boy, the Masters, it's just a great thing. One of the things that I learned something earlier on the show. I would say it's probably been about a month now. There are a billion cricket fans in the world, a billion, more than a billion, and it's a massively popular sport, and it goes on for days. And of course, you know nothing about the sport. I brought a cricket expert on. At least he was an American cricket expert, so how expert really was he? He was knowledgeable, but in listening, I was like, I could get into this. I could get into watching cricket. I grew up playing sports, all of them except for soccer. And the only reason I didn't really play soccer was because soccer was kind of during baseball season. And baseball is a skilled sport. And it's a sport that there's just a painful period of being able to be efficient at baseball. Like when you start throwing and playing catch, like first of all, you can't throw and you can't catch and you certainly can't hit, you can't field. And so there's a process of baseball is just a slow, painful, developmental type of sport. And whereas soccer is not, you can, you put the ball on the ground, you just chase the ball around it, and at least you're doing something and you're not you don't have to throw it. Now kicking a soccer ball, dribbling a soccer ball, there is an art to it. There's a strategy. Like I get it, with soccer, it's not just a bunch of people running around crazy just trying to catch the ball, but it has a different skill. The being able to be efficient at it or to play at a respectable level is much, it comes much quicker than in baseball. And so we were engrossed in baseball. We was just playing all the time. Anyways, I hated soccer. My point is I just hated soccer because it's like, man, it's just too much running. And there's no excitement in this. And I grew up learning the craft of baseball. So, but the point is I got older and I went to a soccer match and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like, it's really fun. I really enjoyed it. And of course, World Cup is coming around the corner. I guess my point is that, if we give any sport, any kind of like chance, most of them are really interesting. Most of them are really compelling to watch. Even the ones you don't think maybe you would necessarily like. I'll just tell you, NASCAR, epic. I gave NASCAR a chance and it did not disappoint. Standing the wall at turn 4 at Daytona with 29 cars going 200 miles an hour, ripping by you. Unbelievable. Like F1 is incredible. So all of it is horse racing. One of my favorite all-time movies is Secretariat, and just watching the footage and understanding the story of some of these great horses and horse races. It's awesome. Sports is amazing, I guess, is my point. And we need to give all sports a chance. Some people like me, because like I love golf and I love talking about it. And a lot of people go, man, I don't really care about golf. I think golf is so boring. And it's like not. And so my point is broaden your horizons, go watch cricket. That's really it's a public service announcement from the Down and Dirty. Go watch cricket. You'll change your life. In fact, I think I'm going to take Martin and we're going to go somewhere and we'll go off and we'll go watch a cricket. Is it a match or a game? I think it's a match. Cricket match. It's probably a match. All those sports, all those European sports are matches. They're matches on the pitch. Okay. The NFL, this is not the NFL news of notes, but it's kind of an interesting little impromptu study that I did on who were some of the best players drafted not in the first round. And so I kind of went round to round. So I went through rounds 2 through 5. And I know like Tom Brady's a 6th round, maybe 7th rounder. I think there's only 5 rounds in the NFL draft now. Maybe there's 7. I don't know. They've changed. There were 12 when I got drafted. I know there's been years when there have been 30. So I did 1 to 2 to 5, and then I did the free agents, right? So the toughest, or the guys that didn't get drafted. And so anyway, so here's kind of the list of by round players who had phenomenal careers, but they weren't drafted in the first round. Okay, so the best second round NFL draft picks of all time. Actually, I'm bring Martin in. Hopefully Martin's dressed and he's awake. But bring Martin into the conversation. Martin, good morning. Love the hat, by the way. Mm-hmm. See, I have my hat. This is how far back I go with the Mammoth. I have my Utah Hockey Club hat. Like, I don't have a Mammoth hat, but I have a hockey club hat. So I'm an OG. I'm a original Mammoth fan here. Okay, so let me just, I'm gonna second round. Okay. Second round elite quarterbacks that were drafted in the NFL. Does anyone come to mind to you all time? We're talking all time.
First off the bat is Drew Brees.
Oh, look at you. Yeah. Look at you, Drew Brees. Yes. Second round pick, 32nd overall by the Chargers, and one of the all-time. Drew Brees is one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time. And it's only because of how he is as a person. Like, well, the fact that he's a little bit shorter, and the fact that he was so short, he felt like he was looking through the bottom of his face mask. It always looked like he was, he kind of had his chin up. He was like, I can't see anybody. You can't see anyone through this face mask. I'm just throw it down the field and hopefully someone catches it. But it just kind of class act. Did something I never thought was possible, and that was win a Super Bowl with the New Orleans Saints. Like, I'm just like, he had a chance to go to Miami, and they failed him on his physical. And boy, what you wonder if it would have changed the fortunes of the Miami Dolphins or not, because you got to remember too, he went with Sean Payton. And so any other quarterback second round ring a bell to you?
Second round.
What's amazing, Martin? You throw me off all the time because you know this stuff. Like you're a sports dude.
I am. This is what I love to do. This is what I love to do.
It's impressive.
Second round.
Don't be looking on your computer.
No, I'm not. I'm just looking down. I'm thinking. Second round.
You want a hint?
Yeah, give me a hint.
Well, you're gonna kick yourself because I'll just tell you, one of the all-time great quarterbacks was a second rounder. I know that's vague. He was successful, and it wasn't the team that originally drafted him that he found.
I'm not gonna say their name because I do not like them. You already know who.
You know that.
I do not like them, but he was drafted by the Falcons, and I forgot about that one. That's
Brett Favre. Yes, Favre is Yep. Okay,
that's another one.
Let me give you some defensive. These are all Hall of Famers, by the way. Michael Strahan, second round draft pick.
That's a good one.
Jack Lambert, second round draft pick.
Lambert was second round.
Yeah,
okay.
I know. 9-time Pro Bowler, of course. He was the face of So one of the very interesting things, I described this on the show a little bit yesterday. When you're playing on the field, like, you're looking right at the defense. You're not. So just think about this. When you're in the huddle, you're only like 4 or 5 yards from the line of scrimmage. Like, you can look at those guys, like, you see them, like, and I would love one time in my life to come to the line of scrimmage, look across the line of scrimmage, and look at Jack Lambert. Like that would be a bucket list item for me. Like that would be a fun thing to say, okay, whose defensive eyes would you like to look at most? Like we could do an all-time team of staring into the faces of death, with the defensive players. But of all the players, all the linebackers, without a doubt, Jack Lambert would be the guy all time that I would love to stare into his eyes and his lack of front teeth and just see, man, that was a dude. Okay, Mike Singletary is another one. He was 38 overall. He's with your Bears. And Brian Dawkins.
Yep, that's a good one right there. That's not a bad class. That's not a bad class at all right there.
Oh, there's more. There's a couple. Gronk was a second-round draft choice. Larry Allen, probably one of the greatest offensive linemen ever ever. Like this, Larry Allen was a freak. Thurman Thomas. Are you surprised that I think of all the people on this list, Thurman Thomas surprised me the most? I thought Thurman Thomas was a first-round draft choice.
Honestly, a lot of the guys that you named should have been first-round picks.
Yeah.
I mean, Gronk should have been a first-round pick. Honestly, Singletary, even though he was a little small because they labeled him a short linebacker coming out of college of Baylor. Lambert, another one, was a solid linebacker in college. Again, they said that he didn't have the speed to run from side to side, but he proved that wrong.
Yeah. And then a couple more here: Bobby Wagner and Derrick Henry of more recent.
That's good. That's a good group to be a part of.
It's phenomenal, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Now let's go to the third round.
Okay.
Is there anybody famously picked in the third round of the NFL draft that jumps off in anyone? It could be a quarterback. It could be. Well, let's just start with quarterback. Is there any third round draft pick quarterback that comes to mind?
One automatically, that just because I watched him play and watched him win a Super Bowl, is Russell Wilson, third round pick.
Yeah.
Won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks out of the third round. Yeah. I mean, unless I'm shocked by it.
This is a guy who's considered it's a very debatable thing up until, well, it wasn't even debatable at the time. Until Tom Brady came around, he was considered the greatest of all time.
Oh, Joe Montana. Yeah, Joe Montana was a third round pick.
He's a third round pick, 82nd overall by the, of course, the 49ers. And T.O. was the third round draft choice.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's a good one for him. Yeah. Sorry.
Mel Blount.
Okay.
Now, one of the things I think I want to say, maybe, kind of in the era of when Mel Blount was drafted, you had a lot of these players from these small colleges, very, very talented. And those players, typically most of them black, came from these smaller schools. Whereas today they probably would have been earlier picks, but it was just kind of, and a lot of it is the ability to scout. It's more comprehensive. It's certainly, they shake every bush, they look under every rock for players today. And at that time, they didn't have the sophistication, the resources to do it. So I think Mel Blount probably might have been a higher draft pick, maybe, possibly. But he was a third round draft. Fran Tarkenton, of course. Fran Tarkenton, to me, I think is one of the all-time most enigmatic players that like he just really went to the beat of his own drum. He was a scrambling quarterback for so long, but he was unbelievably prolific through a lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns, a lot of, and it just truly a remarkable player. But just didn't seem to fit. He was drafted in 1961. Certainly, he would be like just a regular old dude in the NFL today. But he was certainly an anomaly at the time. Jason Taylor is another one. Anyway, so that's the third round. Okay, let's go with the fourth round. Anyone jump? Now I was drafted in the 4th round.
Well, there you go. I'm gonna say the amazing, great left-hander Scott Mitchell. Okay,
John Stallworth. This is kind
Ooh.
of the receiver round. And here's a list of I would have any one of these guys. Okay, you ready for this?
Yeah.
John Stallworth,
Okay.
Steve Largent,
Okay.
Andre Reed, and Chris Carter. All in the 4th round.
Wow.
And it's like, hello.
You would have you would have broken passing records and touchdown records and QBR records and completion percentage records if you had all 4 of those guys.
I mean, man, what could you imagine? Like that to me is just that to me is staggering. That list, that's almost a who's who of the best wide receivers of all time. And they're all in the 4th freaking round.
Yeah. And I mean, that just goes to show that scouting is not about the 1st round. Everyone banks on that 1st round. You got to get the franchise player. You got to put the guy in front of that's going to change your team. But you can find much, much better talent and more consistent talent later in the rounds that are going to be there in the moments that you need them the most.
Now, Norm Van Brocklin, Hall of Famer in the 4th round. Charles Haley, one of the greatest defensive linemen ever. Was also a 4th rounder. All right, let's go to the 5th round.
Did he sack you? Did Charles get you? Did Charles ever come on the edge and get you?
Trying to think. I don't think so.
No. Ooh, you escaped Charles Haley. You're one of the few quarterbacks that can say that.
Oh, come on. No, the guy that gets my absolute most respect is Bruce Smith.
Absolutely.
Bruce Smith got me once really good. Yeah. And then picked me up. That was the part that sucked. He just and never said a word. Like he just stuck his hand out and helped me up off the ground. And I had to have my face mask readjusted. It was bent. Yeah. Okay, best 5th rounders of all time. Okay. This is interesting because you kind of start to see a little bit of the, I could see why they were maybe drafted here. But so like Mike Webster, Hall of Famer, center for the Steelers. Kevin Green, who was kind of one of those, he's also a Hall of Famer. Really sad. Kevin Green died, by the way. This is Zach Thomas, linebacker. Ooh, you kind of see a little bit of the undersized overachiever. That's what the 5th round is. Richard Sherman. That was a 5th round draft. Which really surprised me because he's certainly extremely talented. Tyreek Hill, the mighty might who ran, like faster than the wind. George Kittle, tight end. Lester Hayes was 5th round, and apparently Herschel Walker was a 5th round pick. I didn't know that. I don't know. Yeah, and then of course Dick LeBeau, who was one of my coaches, loved Dick LeBeau, and then of course Puka, one of the modern players. And anyway, so very interesting. Now undrafted is wow. Undrafted is just off the charts here. So Kurt Warner, Kurt Warner's story is just so improbable. Like it's just so improbable, and it's improbable because typically what happens, you undrafted, so he's undrafted, he goes to the Packers. And typically when you have a player like that, and the story is somewhat legendary, where he doesn't even want to go in for a rep because he's so overwhelmed by the whole situation. And they go, here's a guy that wouldn't even go in for a rep in a practice with the Green Bay Packers, and he ends up in the Hall of Fame. Because usually when a guy does that, he gets cut. And once he gets cut, you don't ever come back. You're the guy that goes, could I have a hat on my way out of the building just so I have something to show people that I actually was here, or can I keep my sweatbands? The guys like that want memorabilia or merch just so they can, brag to their friends and then later on claim, oh yeah, I played for the Green Bay Packers, And of course, they never really played, never even really made the team, but they were there for a cup of coffee and a pair of sweatbands. And that's what normally happens. And when Kurt Warner all of a sudden, and then for whatever reason, he just kind of sticks around, just goes and plays in the Barnyard League and arena football, and there was talent there clearly, but he just survived long enough to where he finally got an opportunity that he was ready for, and he wasn't even supposed to be the guy in Trent Green, was going to be the guy, and he wasn't, and so it was just it's one of the greatest stories of all time. Kurt Warner, Warren Moon, another one, and Warren Moon's kind of one of those, the way they draft players, the way they viewed certain players. Warren wasn't necessarily a taller guy, and talk about a prolific career. Warren Moon, John Randall, who we've talked about on the show, had John on the show. John Randall's, one of the great defensive tackles. Antonio Gates, as well. And Adam Vinatieri, surprisingly. And then there's one more quarterback, Tony Romo. Was not drafted.
Yep.
So quite a list. I'm sure there's more, because I didn't go. Maybe we'll look at round 6, and because there used to be more rounds. But
I was about to say the greatest of all time was in round 6, pick 199. How can anybody forget?
I don't know who you're talking about.
Tom Brady.
I know that. I know. The greatest thing they ever did. Okay, we have a game to play when we return here. So stick around. The Down and Dirty will be right back.
For 75 years, Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. No gimmicks, just durable, well-designed bottles built to last. Join us on our mission to amplify life, not complicate it. Because at Nalgene, what goes into our bottles matters as much as the adventures they fuel. Explore more at nalgene.com. That's NALGENE.com.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone, and then you're gonna use the Kodak Photo Print app. It's going to print you a 4x6 photo. I am just in awe. I love how these turned out. Also, the printer comes with a free cartridge of 10 photo sheets. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Welcome to Kitbag, the ultimate destination for football fans. Whether you're cheering for Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, or any other top club, we've got your team's colors running through our veins. From official replica kits to custom player prints of your favorite stars like Ronaldo, Messi, and Kane, Kitbag is your one-stop shop for all things football. Powered by Fanatics, we deliver to over 180 countries, ensuring you get the gear you need fast. For true football passion, think Kitbag. Visit kitbag.com today. That's KITBAG.com. Kitbag.
Farmhound's approach is a little different than a traditional treat company. We get to work with local farmers who are putting everything they can into regenerative farming. From the soil to the animals to the ecosystem. They care about how animals are raised and how we treat the earth. It's not just product, but it's part of that story. It's connected to just a whole lot more.
Hey, sports fans, welcome back. Down and Dirty. Scott Mitchell here. It's Friday. So much fun today. Very interesting conversation about, where people were drafted and when they were drafted. And of course, it doesn't matter, right? It does not matter. Some of the greatest players of all time weren't even drafted. So let's not make a lot of hubba boo boo, honey boo boo, any boo boos about the NFL draft. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Do you know what that's from? It's from a movie, a line in a movie. It's a 70s movie. It's a 70s comedy involving Bill Murray. It just doesn't matter. It
Well,
just
the only two comedy movies I know from Bill Murray is Ghostbusters and Groundhog Day. So unless it's
well,
one of those two
you
movies,
missed his best movies, by the way.
I
Stripes,
probably did.
Stripes is another one.
Okay.
And
Oh,
and
Stripes I have seen. Yeah.
And then of course,
I shouldn't have seen that at age 14, but unfortunately I did.
it's shocking to me the movies I watched growing up, and I would never let my kids watch them in a million years. The other one is Meatballs. Now I'd let my kids watch. Well, I don't even know if I'd let them watch the Meatballs. This is a little. Anyways, Meatballs. About he's summer camp director, and he gives the motivational speech for the Olympic Games between Camp Mohawk, which was the snooty tooty camp, and a famous line, "It just doesn't matter." And anyways, you go watch it. In fact, Google that. It just doesn't matter line from Bill Murray, and it'll come up.
I got a movie to watch for the weekend. I'm excited.
Yes. All right, tell me about this game. Let's get going. I want a gold star. I want something positive to go into the weekend.
All right, we're gonna play Guess the Year. We tried this the other day, and it was successful.
This is a sucky game. You like this game because it's hard for me, and I don't do very well.
Scott enjoyed it very much. He texted me this morning. He's like, "We got to play Guess the Year again, okay?" Because I love that game so much.
Woke up with that
absolutely, okay. So,
all right, let's
what this game is, Scott, is I'm gonna give you the MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, and the Super Bowl matchup. But I'm only giving you the divisions, okay? So you got to guess. You got to wonder who were these winners the year that this was, okay? So, all right. This year was MVP came out of the AFC East.
Okay.
Offensive Player of the Year was AFC East as well. The Defensive Player of the Year was AFC North. And Coach of the Year was AFC East. And your Super Bowl matchup was AFC North versus NFC North. Okay?
So AFC North is what?
What
teams are in the AFC?
Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Cincinnati.
Okay.
I'll give you a clue. I'll give you a clue to help you out here, okay? This is past the year 2005. Okay.
So I'm going to say AFC East MVP was probably Tom Brady.
Okay.
The Defensive Player of the Year could have been someone like Ray Lewis. The Coach of the Year could have been Belichick. And NFC North what's the North? Is that your neck of the woods?
That's my neck of the woods. That's our neck of the woods.
That's the Bears
that's that for.
So the Super Bowl was the NFC North. So it would have been could it have been was Tampa's not in the North anymore, are they?
Nope.
I'm going to say oh wait, I have to guess a year?
Yeah,
I'll say it's 2006.
Ooh, I'll give you one more chance here.
2005.
No, we already did 2005 the other day. No.
2008.
No.
2010.
Hey, there you go. This is the year 2010. Tom Brady won MVP.
So I was right.
Offensive Player of the Year. DPOY, Defensive Player of the Year, was your amazing Troy Polamalu, and Coach of the Year was Bill Belichick. And Super Bowl matchup was the Steelers versus the Packers.
Well, we did this one already.
No, we didn't. We did 2005. We didn't do 2010.
Oh, this is 2000. You're tricking me.
Yeah, I gave you a clue. It's past 2005. Come on, you gotta get on that, man.
So you said past 2005, and I said 2005.
Yeah, there you go.
I did not. I'm a poor listener.
I know.
All right, let's go with the next one. Come on.
All right, the next one is your MVP came out of the NFC West. Offensive Player of the Year came out of the
this
AFC
is after
Central.
what year? Just give me it's after what year? You got to give me some chance. I'm
gonna give you.
an impossible game if you.
I'll give you the decade. It's the 1980s. Okay?
Oh, perfect. There you go. That's
the 1980s. Okay. So MVP, NFC West, Offensive Player of the Year, AFC Central, Defensive Player of the Year, AFC East,
Ooh, I think I
Coach of
know.
the Year, NFC East. And your Super Bowl matchup was AFC East versus NFC East.
Okay, defensive player of the year is
Sorry, I made a mistake. This is not the 80s. This is the 90s. Sorry, this is 1990s.
1990s.
Yeah, this is
So,
the 90s.
AFC East in the Super Bowl. That's the easiest way to figure it out. AFC East in the Super Bowl for the NFC East. So you're going to have the East. So, ooh. So it was a year that the Giants or the Redskins or the Cowboys, and if it's the 90s, it could have been the Cowboys. Let's go 90. Let's go 92.
Ooh, you're 2 years off, but I'm not going to give you the direction, okay? But you're 2 years off.
Oh, no. I know what this is. This is 1990.
There you go. This
Buffalo
is the
Bills
year
and the New York Buffalo Bills and New York Giants. This is my rookie year.
Your MVP was Joe Montana. Your offensive player of the year was who we just talked about. We just talked about him out of the 5th round. Played for the Oilers. I'm sorry, the name's escaping
Warren
me.
Moon.
Warren Moon played the quarterback. DPOI was Bruce Smith. Coach of the year was Jimmy Johnson. And AFC East versus NFC East was the Giants versus the Bills.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. So we played the Bills in the was it the championship game?
Yep.
Or
AFC title game. It was
Yeah,
the
in
race to go
Buffalo.
to the Super Bowl. Yeah. in
and
Buffalo.
they had 200 police officers on horses
Holy.
surrounding the stadium, and they just
my
let all the fans out of the stands. Like it was chaos. And then when we were in our buses getting ready to leave from the stadium, they wouldn't let our buses leave. They blocked our buses in, and
Uh-oh.
and the fans started rocking the buses. They're trying to tip our buses over.
Were you guys late for the
No.
play? Obviously, you guys were.
Well, we had a charter. It wasn't like we had to hit. It was actually kind of scary.
I could imagine.
Throwing beer bottles, breaking them at the bus, spitting logies on. It was just nasty. All right, one more.
We got 2 more. We're not going to just do 1 more. We'll do
Oh.
quick. We'll do it quickly. Okay.
All right.
Okay. We got 2 more. So this
Hey, it's
one
your
is
show.
in
You just let me be here.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is so we got 2 more, but this one is in the 80s. Okay, your
Okay.
MVP, AFC West, Offensive
Okay.
Player of the Year, AFC West, DPOI was NFC North, Coach of the Year, NFC North, Super Bowl, NFC North versus AFC East. What year am I talking about, Scott?
This is in the 80s.
This is in the 80s.
NFC North. I'm gonna go 80. I'm gonna go 82.
You gotta add a couple more years to that.
87.
Give you one more chance.
86.
You're 1 year off. The NFC North should have been a dead giveaway, and the Super Bowl matchup should have been dead giveaway. It's 85. Come on, 85 Bears, baby. The Super Bowl shuffle.
Yeah, but it wasn't the North then. It was the Central.
Was it the Central? Well, I wrote that wrong. I apologize.
Yeah. So you're cheating at this game, Martin. You're throwing me off.
I made a mistake. I apologize.
Yeah,
That
if you
is my
said
fault.
Central in the 80s, well, that was the only time an NFC Central team went was the Bears. I would have got that easy, 85. Yeah.
All right, final one here. You should know this.
Dude,
one
I'm thinking
because-
I'm thinking Philadelphia, Washington. That's why I said 82 with Washington or 87. That's why I'm just, yeah.
All right,
All right, last
that's my fault. I apologize. All right, last one. This is MVP was NFC East.
What
I'll give you
decade?
I'll give you the decade. It is the 1970s. Okay,
Ooh.
and I'll give you even more of a clue. Okay, this is before 1975. Okay, so 1970 to 1975. MVP NFC East. Offensive Player of the Year, NFC East, DPOI, AFC East, Coach of the Year, AFC East, and NFC East versus AFC East matchup in the Super Bowl.
And this is in the 70s.
In the 70s.
Well, So in the 70s, the Dolphins were the AFC East. So I'm going to go 72 Dolphins.
Yep, there you go. This
There
is
you
the
go.
undefeated Miami Dolphins 72 season.
All right, well, let's take a break. Good
Yep.
show. I like the game. It's a fun game. But you got to work on your north and
Yeah,
east and
dude,
all.
network.
You got to know the decade so you can tell me what the division is.
Hey, you know, I work.
It's okay. We'll get her down. But it's a fun game. All right, let's take a break. NFL news of notes around the corner when the Down and Dirty returns.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. The luxury and confidence of premium clad stainless steel meets Scratch Defense Extreme Non-Stick that won't scratch, ever. With an ultra-thick aluminum core for high-performance heating. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance of clad stainless steel. Scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. The grinder mentality that Randy and Brent Habert built into 44 Pro runs deep within our team. Every member shares a passion for the craft, the game, and most importantly, the player. When you step onto the field with a 44 Pro custom glove, you'll feel the difference. It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
At Mapiful, we believe in celebrating your journey, past, present, and future. Our unique personalized products are designed to boost your confidence, elevate creativity, and honor what matters most. From custom home decor to meaningful gifts, we help you cherish the memories that make you who you are. Visit mapiful.com and start celebrating your story today.
Hey, sports fans, welcome back. Down and Dirty. Scott Mitchell. So glad you could be a part of our day. Fun show so far. Played a game. It's a compelling game. I hope you like those games. They're kind of fun. Anyways, Master rolls on. It's going as we speak. But the NFL is always 365, 24/7, and we love to cover it. So we always have NFL news of notes, and we're going to get into some of those important stories, headlines, happenings in the NFL. Travis Hunter, of course, you remember Travis Hunter. He's the long heralded, of course, he was Heisman Trophy cornerback / wide receiver for the Colorado Buffaloes. And he's now with the Jacksonville Jaguars, showed some signs of promise a year ago as a wide receiver / defensive back. It is official. He is now predominantly a defensive back. So the experiment, I was cheering for him. I love these players that kind of, change the narrative, think outside the box. He was incredible at Colorado playing, but the NFL they feel like it's probably better for him if he actually just kind of focuses per se on one position. And of course, that is at cornerback. Of course, Jacksonville has a plethora of wide receivers. Now, what they do have is they have insurance with a player like this. So it's kind of maybe the best of both worlds. Probably will be an opportunity for Travis to really excel and accelerate his development, his contribution to the team when he can be a bigger impact, a bigger role on one side of the ball. So can't necessarily say it's a bad thing, but probably end up being a very talented player. And it'll be fascinating, of course, to see where all of that ends up for him, because Jacksonville feels like it's a team that's kind of rolling and moving in a very healthy and positive direction. Probably make some significant noise in the playoffs this year. And we'll get a better feel as the season gets closer. But will the Kansas City Chiefs return to form? And who is waiting in the wings? Can Josh Allen get over the top? Are there some other teams that are there? Where do the chart? What does New England look like this year? What does Denver look like? So there's Justin Herbert. There's you can't count out Joe Burrow. A lot of good teams in the AFC, and I believe that Jacksonville is one of them as well. So that will be something fun to watch. Okay. There has been a list of players who have been invited to the 2026 draft. There's about 16. Of course, Ohio State has 5 players going to the NFL draft. That is quite remarkable, and it just kind of speaks to this is kind of where we are now. I think it's interesting. There are 2 players from Alabama and Miami. Ty Simpson, of course, Ruben Bain with Miami, Francis Megola is also one. Texas Tech linebacker David Bailey is another one of those players. Of course, Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love, who's one of the top players in the draft. That's kind of I want to say a no-brainer. Now, Fernando Mendoza is, of course, going to watch from a distance. Now, this is always, I think, a nerve-wracking choice for me, because it's not necessarily guaranteed that you're going to be picked. In fact, there's always that guy, and that guy is all alone in the green room by the end of it. The first round is a long, protracted television event. They're squeezing every ounce they possibly can get out of the NFL draft, and so it carries on, it drags on, it goes on and on and on. And the NFL, I'm sure, invites the players. And they probably go around and they just say, maybe they do a survey. And they say, give us your top 16 players. So every team submits it, and they probably do a review. I'm just guessing. I'm just speculating how they would do this. I don't know. But it's because teams aren't going to necessarily go, yeah, we're picking this guy, make sure he's at the draft, kind of thing. Because they don't want to tip their hand. And quite frankly, they don't know, because maybe the guy they wanted to pick is not there. And then all of a sudden the guy that they do want to pick, or that they have rated high enough, is not one of the 16 that's invited. And you get like a Daniel Jones situation where it's like, well, Daniel Jones, and they have to kind of look through their little notes and, page 5 and go, oh yeah, okay. But it's always, I want to say, a crapshoot. But there's always going to be that guy. There's going to be one guy out there that's just like, yeah. Doesn't get picked. It gets extremely awkward. And you sit there and listen to Mel Kiper go, man, I don't know why this guy's not off the board yet. And clearly he's the best selection at this pick. This is when this guy should go. And then the team picks and it's not him. And you're just like, And then finally the guy's put out of his misery. And then he's very awkwardly up there going, yeah, okay, I'm holding the jersey, and just thank you for putting me out of my misery and let me go home now, because this is the worst thing in the world. So they announced the players. Shocking, not shocking. Ohio State has 5 players that are going to be drafted, not in the draft, but potentially in the first round. Crazy. And the phenomenal defense. I mean, wow. Ohio State, really had it going on. Okay, another note here that's newsworthy to me is the Houston Texans. I didn't even talk about them. We're sitting here talking about Jacksonville and Denver, and you're talking about the Patriots, and what about Houston? Now, they picked up the 5th-year options of C.J. Stroud and, of course, Willie Anderson Jr. C.J. Stroud, man, He's one of those players that makes me scratch my head, and simply because he just started off so hot and was so impressive his rookie year. And you just thought, okay, the trajectory is just going to keep going higher. And maybe that's the problem. It's like maybe he reaches his pinnacle. It's like that's the very best you're ever going to get out of CJ Stroud. And then he just kind of digressed. I mean, really, these last couple of years. If they had any kind of, I don't want to say, I mean, if they have superior play from a quarterback, they're like, it's lights out. They're going to win Super Bowl. Should have won. They would have won it a year ago. If they have pretty good production from the quarterback, they're gonna be right there, which is where they were. And the quarterback, and it was tough sledding in New England there. I mean, that those are challenging circumstances, and they're challenging, especially for a team that plays in warm weather. Houston's is a warm part of the country. It's humid, and you go into those cold weather situations, and it's just the teams just don't perform the same. They just don't. It just, it's like a diesel engine, man. When the weather is cold, it takes a minute to get it going. It just doesn't run the same. And that could be part of the situation. Who knows? But man, if they figure it out with CJ Stroud, and it looks like there's a commitment, and that's really the thing I think that was most interesting about the story, is that there's a commitment. It was like you pick up the option because his salary is guaranteed for this year. And this is that go time. This is the go, no go, since it's Houston, hey, Houston, we go, no go, flight, go, no go, medical, go, no, all the little things they say for their mission. And they've said, hey, we're going on CJ Stroud. Part of it is, he's shown a lot. I mean, it's not like he's garbage. And it's just so hard to find a guy to make a replacement. And they're really prepped to be very, this is their window, and it's a big window. And if he can play just anywhere half decent, they're going to be a team. In fact, I'm almost ready to pick the Houston Texans as my team to get in the Super Bowl this year. That's where I feel about the Texans. So I'm not yet. This is not official, but I'm very close. Very, very close. And of course, Willie Anderson is proven to be one of the great players on a really, really good defense. That's a no-brainer. That's not even hard. All right, Kirk Cousins came out and said, look, if he's going to play for the Raiders, he needs to be the best quarterback on the team. And, I have mixed emotions about this thought about Kirk Cousins and that statement. Like, is it kind of one of those sandbag statements where, it's kind of these, it's a little bit, shucks, or, it's a genuine comment to kind of throw you off guard. It's kind of one of those under promise, over deliver statements. There's just, or is it just flat out 100% being honest and genuine and just saying, if I'm not the guy, then I shouldn't be the guy. And I, and one of the, because then it's part of, well, he's saying maybe Fernando Mendoza should just, if he's the guy and he's the better guy, he should be playing. Maybe it's that same. It's a really, it's kind of a strange statement. It's kind of a Kirk Cousins statement that he's a guy that's been throwing folks off for a long time. He's this guy that has defied all the odds. He's the guy that wasn't really picked to be the guy with the Washington Commanders. He's the guy that they couldn't decide on if he was the guy, so they franchised him a couple of years in a row. And he responded brilliantly, and it ended up being a long-term deal for him that just keeps on giving. And so not only did he sign, but he re-signed, and then he signed with the Falcons, and and his deal now is deceptive because you give the whole duration of the deal, and it's really contingent upon a lot of things. Potentially it's worth a lot, but not necessarily a lot of guaranteed money. Not, so there's, but still it's good. And basically, if he's the guy and he's starting, he's playing, performing, he's going to get paid. But if he's not, he's not. And that's just the way it is, which is probably the way it should be, which is what he's saying. It's like, look, if I'm not the guy, I'm not the guy. But it just feels a little bit like, watch out for Kirk Cousins, because he's been duping people for a long time. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it in like a lot of people have underestimated him, have kind of thrown in the towel on him, have not respected him, not giving him his due. But the guy has stuck around, and he's relevant, and he certainly can play in the NFL, can play at a high level. Where he goes, it's really unfortunate. He's on a team that is limited, that like they don't have all the pieces, but he's certainly a guy with his moxie, his experience, his understanding of the system, because he's in a system that he's been in before, with a coach that he's been with before. You can get a lot out of that. And so that's probably a lot of why he's there. One is they know he'll be a good citizen. And two, it's about players you can trust and players that, can execute at a high level with what you're asking them to do. So, and that's just from an operational standpoint. It's just from playing in the game. Like if he's going to be your guy, you're going to have a shot with him. And that's what the team wants. But if he's not your guy, then he's going to be a great guy to really help mentor the young guy. And there's this whole debate that's gone on for years. It's a stupid debate about, you got to help and mentor these other players. It's like, no, that's not your job. Your job is to play quarterback, and that's what you're paid for. The coach's job is to develop the players. That's their job. And if you want a consulting fee and you want to be a mentor fee, then that's a different discussion. But if there's anyone who will be the very best at mentoring a young guy like Fernando Mendoza, because I guarantee you Kirk Cousins is not going to the Raiders with the intention of just being a good guy and just acquiescing. He's going there going, I got a new shot, a new opportunity, and I'm going for it. And if they want to sit this young kid, fantastic. I'm going to go out and just play gangbusters, because who knows? I may not be here. I may be somewhere else down the road. There's always a desperate move for a quarterback in the NFL. So, here you go. So don't underestimate, don't minimize any kind of, oh, shucks, if I'm not the guy kind of comment, then I shouldn't be the guy, because Kirk Cousins is setting you all up. That's all I'm saying. Okay, we're going to take a break. We come back. Robert McIntyre, who is a lefty from England or somewhere over there in Great Britain, flipped off a green at Augusta. He was not happy with the venue and expressed his frustration in a very demonstrative way. We're going to talk about what that means, not only there, but then what venues would you like to flip off if you're a player? We'll talk about that when the Down and Dirty returns.
You probably get unwanted emails almost every single day.
Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com. That's CLEAN email.com. Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com.
When you learn a language with Babbel, you start a journey that takes you further and further. Anytime and anywhere you wish. It's easy and fun. Broadens your horizons and keeps your brain fit. A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
Have you ever wondered why so many pet parents are choosing to have virtual vet appointments? Online veterinary care is making it easier than ever to get expert advice for your pet. Our professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care. We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns and expand access to pet care. Book your first appointment today.
Hey, sports fans, welcome back Down and Dirty. So glad you could be a part of our day. It's Friday. So much going on in the world of sports in the spring. Drafts coming up. Masters is going on. NBA is heating up. Just a couple of games left in the NBA. And the spots are getting hot. Who's in, who's where. Of course, our beloved Utah Mammoth in the state of Utah secured their first playoff appearance in franchise history in only their second year. Which is crazy in the sense this is why it's crazy to me. It's crazy because they said they were going to do it. Like when I've talked to Mammoth people or, insiders, and it's like, okay, tell me about this Mammoth team. It's like, okay, year one, they're going to be competitive. You probably won't make the playoffs, but this team is geared. It's percolating. It's marinating. It absolutely should be a playoff team next year. A lot of young players, a lot of young talent that's really emerging, developing very nicely. And so this should be a playoff team in year two. Well, look what happened. The Utah Mammoth were extinct many years ago, but they've been cryogenically reanimated. And now we have a hockey playoff team here in the state of Utah. Cryogenically reanimated Utah Mammoth make the playoffs. Try saying that at home. That's a fun one. All right. Robert McIntyre. If you watched his round, he was kind of, he was 3 over and he's trying to figure out how to play the holes at the Masters. And of course, I think he's on, I think it's 15. Yeah, it's 15. And it's a par 5. And there's this kind of go no go situation, and so you're hitting a downhill lie, a long shot into a green that's somewhat challenging. If you hit it in the wrong spot, it won't hold, right? So a lot of players there's two choices. If you're kind of in between clubs, you're not really comfortable with the longer iron and where it's going to go with the lie, it's a downhill lie. So a lot of them bail out, hit it in the bunker, and then they try to up and down from the bunker for a birdie. Some players will lay up right in front of the green, and then they have a short wedge onto a green because the whole front side of the green is water. And then if you hit it too far, you can actually hit it too far over the green, and then you go into water, which is around 16. And so Robert McIntyre, he plunks it in the water, hits another shot, plunks that in the water. And then of course he gets like this long, like triple bogey. And so he flips off the green and he goes off in disgust, whether he actually makes the cut or not. Now he runs a significant risk here because there's a certain etiquette at the Masters, like it, and it's etiquette that like will get it does not sit well with the people at the Masters. And I think if anything rules golf, it's the Masters protocol, or the way they view golf, or the way they expect everyone to behave at the Masters. There's no John McEnroe throwing rackets. It's like, we don't care how demonstrative a player you are. We don't care what your personality is. We just know that when you come and play here, you're going to carry yourself in a certain manner. No exceptions. We don't care who you are. And that includes the spectators. Like I said, I mean, it's a who's who. You'll be walking through the crowds, and it's the titans of industry. It's some of the biggest names in the world, in all sports, in outside of sports, I mean, you name it. Like, it's like they're there, and they're just patrons, and they all behave like you do not run. You don't steal anyone's spot. The way you look, the way you clap, the way you dress, the way you think, it's a certain way. So to flip off a green at the Masters, it ain't flying. It ain't happening, right? It's not. No. No. Now, I get it, and I understand it, and I understand the frustration of all the expectation, all the preparation, and you get there, and it doesn't turn out the way you expect it. And I had a situation where so my grandma used to watch my games, and you can equate my grandma to Augusta etiquette, right? And so there was just a certain way my grandma expected you to behave and to act, and if you didn't, that was unacceptable. And I'll just tell you, I would be much more afraid of my grandma than Fred Ridley, the chairman of Augusta National. Yeah, it's not even close. But I was playing in a game and I swore. Now, swearing is an interesting part of our society today, and quite frankly, it's gotten out of hand. It really has. It's unacceptable, but it's become so normal. And the length, I was in a meeting, and it was just the quarterbacks. The meeting was a half an hour. I was playing for the Miami Dolphins, and I was just like, because the F word is just dropped constantly, and it's everywhere. I mean, I was on a reality TV show, Biggest Loser, and every production person, anyone associated with the show, it should have been the effing Biggest Loser. Really. I mean, it was just so, and it was just commonplace. Like, people didn't think twice about it. They didn't have, it's like, they didn't care. They didn't think it was a problem. And it's a problem. So anyways, so I'm in this meeting with the Miami Dolphins, and I'm like, I wonder how many times in this 30-minute meeting. So we just had a 30-minute meeting, quarterbacks. And I go, how many times the F word is going to be said in this meeting? So I had my notebook there, and I just took notes, all this stuff. I ought to get my notebooks out. It'd be kind of fun to look at them. We've got a bunch of them. And so I just put like little tally marks, like the little, you go 4 and then you put a cross line through it. So that's 5, so you just count up however many times 5 ends up. So I'm tallying the F words between, and there's 3 of us in this meeting, and I didn't say a single F word. So it was 2 people. And I'm not going to tell you who they are, but it was a quarterback meeting, so you can figure out. And so, well, it was Dan Marino and Gary Stevens, our offense coordinator. And so I'm counting up 69 times in half an hour. And I go, I was just kind of curious how often the F word was brought up. I told them after the meeting, and they laughed, and they're like, "Oh man, I'd have said it more if I'd have known you were counting." But this whole idea of kind of, our language or our frustration or whatever. And so my grandma, getting back to my grandma, who more afraid of than Fred Ridley and Augusta's, standards. She was watching one of my NFL games, and I said the queen mother of F words, and I actually used the mother in front of the F word. And my grandma, to her great astonishment, she was watching this game with one of my aunts, and because my aunt was the one who told me this. And my aunt said, you have to stop swearing on television. You're going to send your grandmother, into like a fit of rage. And so my grandma looked at my aunt when I said this, and she said, "Did he say what I thought he said?" And my aunt looked at her, and my aunt said, "No, he said vacuum." And so she said, "You cannot swear anymore. You can't do it." So what I learned how to do was there's a thing called a towel. And so often quarterbacks, if you'll see them, not so much now, but kind of in my era, when a quarterback was on the sideline, he just have a towel like draped over his shoulder, wrapped around his neck, whatever, wipe the sweat off between series. And of course, I was a guy who sweated a lot, so I did have a towel. So I just learned that if I was ever going to swear, that I just covered my face with the towel, and then I just had a conversation between me and the towel, and no one was the wiser. Because when you're in a game, you don't realize that people are actually like videoing, like they show you all the time, and so they see a lot of the animation, they see a lot of that stuff. So now I couldn't help it when I was on the field, but hopefully, it wasn't caught in those moments. But then it got me thinking about, like, this McIntyre, Robert McIntyre's, he's frustrated with the venue, and I'm trying to think of, some of the venues that you just want to flip off, right? They're just like, and I think of some of the venues that I played at, or I think some of the venues that we would want to just go, let's just give that the bird and just see it later. Now there are other ones you just go, man, I want to play in that. Like, man, I want to play here. So for whatever reason, I just always liked Giant Stadium, right? Where New York Giants, Jets play. Of course, there was just something about the Meadowlands and playing there that was really cool. Lambeau Field, believe it or not, was cool. Now, I will tell you, sorry, Martin, but Soldier Field gets a big bird. Like, just the locker room was 4 miles away. Horrible locker room. Field was terrible. It was dirt spray paint green to look like grass, and that's all it was. It was ugly. It was nasty. The vet, of course, now it's different, and so Lincoln Financial, I think that's what it's named today, in Philadelphia. Any field in Philadelphia just gets the bird. Okay, that's just my my standard of operating procedure. Absolutely 1000% gets the bird. The Kingdome, any stadium in Seattle, and they love their stadium, right? They think, oh man, we just the 12th man, and 12 or whatever they call it now. They probably don't call it man because whatever. But they deserve the bird. That's a bird stadium. Speaking of birds, the Kansas City Chiefs, which aren't birds, but they have feathers, and so they're going to get a bird. That is like, in fact, I think they set a record, which is it's the loudest stadium in decibels, is Arrowhead, and it's one thing. It's one thing if you go for years, and I think it was 50 between Super Bowls, but one of the best fan bases, really, probably maybe in all of sports, Kansas City Chiefs fans, and they're good fans. Like, these aren't the Eagles fans. These are good fans. The folks at Lambeau are good fans. They really are. But they're, Bears fans are kind of, the Bears. Sorry, Martin. I'm picking on the Bears today. I don't care. And I'm not going to bring Martin in. Don't bring him in, because he's going to have to sit in his corner and have to struggle with the rebuke. But I'll tell you a stadium want to flip off. You ready for this? This is home field. The Silverdome. Man, flip that off with a double bird. And simply because it was horrible to travel to. It was a horrible surface to play on. The lion, when the lion roared, sounded like someone flushing a toilet. It just it didn't invoke this, and I could get brutally loud. But just sad, really sad. Not sad that stadium goes now where Ford Field in Detroit is not flip offable unless you're not a Lions fans. But yeah, it's actually a good one. One of the Duke Cameron Indoor, it could be a tough place to play. Definitely evokes some of those types of things. Mile High, you could argue, especially with weather, altitude. Any place that see, they're making these stadiums too nice today. They're too plush. They're too cozy, and they're gonna eliminate the potential of a bird flying. So yeah, it's kind of a bad thing. You know what? I'm gonna bring Martin in. Bring Martin in. Bring him in. Martin, are you there? Am I clear? Am I coming in clear? So, Martin, I know you heard about your beloved Soldier Field. Is there a place that you would just like to flip off? Can't put me off, but is there a stadium? Is there an arena? Is there somewhere in the world that I'm missing that needs to get the finger?
Let's think. There's only one, and it's obvious. It's obvious.
Why do I ask? Why do I fall for this all the time? I fall for this all the time.
I don't care if they're running on Lombardi time. I don't care about their 4 Super Bowl titles. I don't care about their 20, 30-year run of we have had generational quarterbacks and we have had no problem at that position. I don't care about their history. I don't care about any of it. And yeah, they can sit up in that cold area and take the 20 feet of snow every December and chill themselves out because they came to Soldier Field and they lost. And yeah, Soldier Field is better than that place up in Wisconsin. So yeah,
Ben might have given them the finger. Didn't he?
You know what? It was glorious. It was absolutely glorious. We'll get them. We'll get them when we have to go back up there for our mandatory prison time for one Sunday, and we'll serve it and we'll beat them. So yeah, that's the only stadium when it comes to the NFL. Yeah, that's the only one I could think of that deserves a little bit of a salute, shall I say? But just yeah. Yeah.
I like it. All right. Okay. Yeah. I'm glad I brought you in. Hey, we're going to take a break. We come back. Martin will be flipping me off here. Sam Darnold got married. Now, what does that mean? We'll talk about. Does marriage and sports mesh? That's what I want to know. We'll talk about that and so much more when the Down and Dirty returns.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated with style and durability. You can trust Tervis tumblers to keep your drinks the perfect temperature, hot or cold, for hours. From the classic insulated tumblers to sleek stainless steel water bottles, each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Hey, sports fans, welcome back. So the Masters is going on, and of course, they had the ceremonial start. Tom Watson, Gary Player, Jack Nicklaus. Jack Nicklaus about hit a spectator. Man, he duck hooked it bad. Player and Watson were striping it. Man, they hit their shots fairly decent. And of course, Tom Watson. Everyone had a comment about kind of things going on in golf. And it's funny because you look at guys like Tom Watson and they just seem like nice and cerebral and just positive, happy. Tom Watson's a guy that has a smile on his face like all the time. Just seems to be a happy-go-lucky guy. And he was asked about Brooks Koepka and returning from the Live Tour and pretty stiff, reinstatement process. And he was disappointed in it. He goes, I don't like it. I don't like that. Like he wanted a pound of like he wanted him to hurt. And it's pretty significant. The financial limitations, they got to earn the right onto certain events type of thing. It's not like they're just going to walk back in the door and everything's going to be copacetic. And Tom Watson's like, these guys leave, they want to come. It's a lifetime ban. Like, no, out, gone. And I was like, holy cow, like pretty strong words. Now, a lifetime ban means, well, yeah, unless you go and go through the qualifying process to make it back on the tour. So Tom Watson's like, go play on the Corn Ferry Tour, go back to Q School, do whatever, earn the right to come back here and play. And golf is an interesting sport in that, it's not like the NBA where it's like, hey, you play 65 games a year. Like, you can sit out a lot of the games and you're still going to get a paycheck. In the PGA Tour, it's like if you don't make the cut each week, you don't get paid. So it's a different, it's a different deal, which I actually like. I like it a lot, and kind of thing. It really kind of sieves out and kind of gets rid of the dead weight, and the guys that really deserve to be there are each week. It's like every week, you deserve to be there. So Tom Watson just said no. And of course, Brooks Koepka is playing pretty good. And he's won multiple majors and hasn't won the Masters. I think, well, no, maybe he has. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. Doesn't matter. But just thought strong words from such a kind, smiling grandpa, Tom Watson. Very interesting. Okay. This was an interesting topic for me. Sam Darnold just got married. And you see so many of these professional athletes marrying very famous people. And you wonder, because it certainly didn't happen. It happened, but not to the degree it seems like it's happening now, where a lot of these celebrities, famous people are marrying these athletes, whether they're singers, actresses, whatever. And part of it, you have to wonder. And so I just saw this marriage, and I hate that I even said this because I'm married, very happily married. Things are wonderful. Massive believer in marriage. Like, this is not a knock on marriage. But when I see these, the first thing in my mind is like, is that for real? Like, my mind just goes there. Like, it's like, and the question is, do you know that it's real? How do you know it's real? And because you're like, you're like these athletes today in the NFL, hundreds of millions of dollars. Like they are now, if you do the hot, crazy matrix on women, it's like the hotter they are, the crazier they can be. Right. And there's a zone where it's just, you don't go. So you don't go with certain names. You don't go with certain, like if it's a hairdresser, if it's someone named Karen, or there's all these certain names you just stay away from. And because they're in the no-go zone. But the hotter they are, the crazier they can be. And which is very shallow. Now, the male side of this is it's all about looks to a point. Money dominates the conversation always. So the richer you are, you can be just dirt ugly, just ugly, and it's okay. It's okay. So, overweight, ugly, bald, old, any of it, if you got a lot of money, you're set. So I see these marriages and my mind just immediately goes to, what is she really there for the, for the love? And how do you not know? Because, you're probably going to have money forever. So, and really what relationship, what is it really like? Now, there have been and I think of like Jack Nicholas and his wife Barbara, who, by the way, she was right there. He was, a ceremonial starter. She was a part of his career the whole entire time. She is a integral part of the success he had. He said, he wouldn't have been able to come close to doing what he did. I think of Coach Shula and his first wife, who was just a rock star, and she was raising a family, and he was off being a coach. And there's so many of these situations where, these athletes have this really stable life, but there's also, you have to wonder now. And there's a fascinating, like, probably the most famous couple in the world today is Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. And she's the one that's kind of, is he really here for love? It's one of those rare, very rare situations where in that situation, for whatever reason, and I don't know it, because I don't think any of us know it, and that's the problem. And it's not a problem. It's not like we have to get in their business and find out what, they're, do you really love each other? Do you really, whatever. Or are you in love with the lifestyle? Are you in love with the money or the prestige or the fame? Because anyone else gets married, it's not a story. Now, Sam Darnold seems to be marrying for the real, for the right reason, I guess. Again, it's just so hard. It's so hard to know. And I think the other question is, does being married like what kind of factor does it place on the success you have as an athlete? And I've been married playing in my career, and I got divorced, and it was awful. It was horrible. And it impacted me in a huge way in how I played, because having a family, being married was such a part of who I was. And when that was not there, oh my goodness, it was just devastating. It was just not fun. I would just tell you, there's no such thing as a good divorce. It's not. It just isn't. There's just no way around it. No way to describe it. And there are times when it's absolutely necessary, and it should happen. But I will tell you, it's, even if it should happen and does happen, still stinks and not fun. And it's one of the, and for me, I was I didn't talk to anyone about it. I just kind of suffered through it, and suffer I did. It was not a fun thing. So I just, I see this and I just wonder. I know Terry Bradshaw went through a divorce when he was playing, and he's talked about it to some degree, and it was hard. It was tough to deal with. So there's all these facets of it, but you see these other people, we talked about Kurt Warner on the show earlier, and he was able to marry a woman, and she had a child, and they started a life together, and she was a tremendous support and great for him. And I'm sure it had a huge impact and a massive benefit during his playing time. And then I look at guys who, are the bachelors, right? And so maybe a bunch of guys live together and whatever, or maybe you don't, and you're just a bachelor during your whole entire career. And maybe it has an impact on you. Maybe it doesn't have an impact on you. I don't know, but it's this marriage in sports. It's a fascinating dilemma. And I think, or dynamic. And I don't want to call it a dilemma, but it's a massive, it'd be fun to really dive deep into this and really study it and to understand, how it all works. But I just look at players today, and they get married, and you just wonder, and you hope, like, and because I don't want to be cynical, but you just hope, okay, we did it for the right reasons and the right thing. Now you look at some players in college now, and now these players in college are making money. And here in the state of Utah, in the last couple of years, there have been 2 situations where players at BYU have entered into relationships. They're not married, but they violated an honor code, and it was in both instances the players were accused of like sexual assault. And you wonder, and I'm not here to judge because it's alleged. One case was dismissed, the other one is still pending, but the point is, if you look through the whole issue of this, is a person going, well, it was consensual in the moment, but now I know these college players have some money, and maybe there's an opportunity to kind of exploit this in some degree, especially with players that go to BYU and they have an honor code, that I'm really going to mess them up. And or maybe it's just they sexually assaulted him. I don't know, but there's always all sides to a story, to a situation. Relationships in sports, it can be a challenging thing. It can be a massively beautiful thing. It's across the board, but it's fascinating to see kind of its impact on sports. So I wish Sam Darnold well. I hope that it's all great, and from by all means, it looks like it is, and I hope it turns out great for him and really everyone else who's married. So again, big proponent of marriage, and I hope you're married to the show, and I hope we have a good relationship. I hope you're just not here for my money, but you're here to enjoy what we do. All right, have a great weekend, everyone. Of course, make sure to watch the Masters. Tip your waiter. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Martin. And I don't know who's a substitute for Zach. I didn't even catch his name today. So anyways, I apologize for that. But thank you for your help. You all have a great day. This has been the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell. Until then, we'll see you then.